Stefan, what do you think?
Well, growth is very, very important to the folk, but as Helga said, quality is, I think, to be maintained over quantity. And I would rather have a small group of dedicated heathens than a group of eclectics who mix a little heathenry with a little Native American religion, with a little Wicca, with a little Celtic, with a little whatever the New Age flavor of the week is. I think that the growth of our folk is important. It's important that we continue to network. In the AFA, we have a folk building program, and what this does is we have folk builders all across the United States, and a person from, let's say, Missouri will contact us. We can direct the local folk builder to get in touch with this person and put them in touch with the local heathen community. But now we have the internet, which is unbelievable. When I got into heathenry, we did not have the networking capabilities that we do now. I mean, this is unbelievable. We can carry on conversations with people in Europe, and for free.
Start fights with people in Europe.
Oh boy, that's a whole different subject. But we have the ability now to network, and this network ability is going to help us grow, is going to help us get the word out. So many people say when I start telling them about Asatru, I've been looking for this. I didn't know anything like this existed, and that to me just blows me out of the water, because I'm thinking, how can you not know about it? And so it's important that all of us, as Asatruers, are ambassadors. And wear your hammer out. And if people ask questions, be forthcoming, invite them to what's going on. It's important to let people know that we're out there and we exist, and that's how we'll grow.
Mr. McNallen, what kind of organizational structures do you think our folk needs to advance its interests in the years ahead that we don't already have?
Well, I think we've actually got a good start. I think, like, for example, the clergy program that we've got rolling is one thing, and the folk builder thing that was mentioned a moment ago. I think that others will evolve. I think that we need to consider things such as economic networking for our people. We need to be helping each other get jobs that work. We need to be pushing the idea of education. Are we thinking about engineers in the generations to come, and other things of significance? We need to be looking at networking on a broad level, at overcoming the geographical distances that separate us, trying to actually weld a community that is not just a cyber community, but a community of flesh and blood.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Helga, what do you think?
As someone who lives in Nevada, where our numbers are fewer and more spread out, I think one of the keys is creating things that bring people from further geographic areas to physically meet and network with each other, as he was saying. I also think that, and this is the hard part a lot of times with Asatru, having organizations that we can all agree on a set of rules that does not restrict anyone's practices or beliefs, but gives us a common ground that when people ask us questions about, oh, what is this Asatru you talk about, we have something in common so people aren't getting a totally different answer from every person that they talk to, so that we have some sort of a folk identity as ourselves.
How do you think we would do, how would that happen?
Oh, boy.
I told him I was going to ask difficult questions. So.
It's, go ahead.
No, please, Stefan.
I tell you, it's not going to happen. And I'll tell you why. It's because people who have discovered the flavor of Asatru that they like are going to stay with that. A lot of Asatruers began as Asatruers. Then they discovered Theism and Saxon heathenry. Some people call themselves Odinists. Other heathens want to be called heathens. and they don't want to be called Asatruer because they want to separate them from that group. So we are a living, growing movement and religion, and we're just beginning. I mean, this is a new beginning. This is the religion that we're practicing now is not the religion that was practiced by our ancestors. It's close. We worship the same gods and goddesses, but we're doing things as 21st century heathens. And it's not going to be the way it was back then, but it's not supposed to be that way because we're supposed to grow. You know, the All-Father teaches us to continue to seek out knowledge, to seek out change, keep on moving forward until we get it. So we're going to basically probably have various flavors of Asatru eventually, just the same way the Christians have Lutherans, Presbyterians, Catholics, and Southern Baptists. We'll have different flavors, all basically worshiping the same gods and goddesses. Now the important thing is that be so without the conflict that is tearing the folk apart at this point. And I blame that on the internet. The internet is a blessing on one angle. On the other hand, it's one of the worst things that could possibly happen to us.
So to put that down into a sentence, I think we could say that what we're looking at is open competition in the marketplace of ideas. You know, everyone and every group is just going to have to get out there and speak the truth that it feels, and then from that things will rub together and evolve, and we'll end up wherever we end up. I don't know that we can program that in advance, really.
Yeah. There's there may be some debate on this, but I'm going to make this statement. I think the majority of our folk live in urban areas. What special approaches can we take to make Asatru relevant to where people are and make it relevant to their lives that they have to deal with in the cities? Do you think we should do that?
I think one thing that we can do is to entice people who are in the cities to experience the rural, more relaxed, often more folk-related kind of life. If you take a person who's in the city living a very stressed out, a very intense 21st century high-speed kind of life, not that that's all bad at all. There's some very good things about that. I think that we can use this as an enticement. Come to the mountains, come to the forests, come and commune with nature and with the holy powers. Another thing that we can use, I think, with people in the cities is the whole idea of the necessity of preserving our culture, our identity in a very urban, a very metropolitan kind of environment where every other group has got its agenda and is pushing that agenda. And it's surely in defense, if nothing else, we're going to have to do the same.
Helga, what do you think?
I recently moved to 2 acres in rural Nevada and started raising livestock. I honestly am not sure I understand the urban mind well enough to be able to draw parallels on
so you
how
think everybody should do that?
In my heart of hearts, yes.
Then it wouldn't be rural anymore.
I know. But they should at least all come visit me and meet my chickens.
Okay.